I know what you're thinking already, so let me be the first to say it. It is a terrible time to buy a house right now, and I'll tell you why. Hi, I'm Jim. I'm an investor and real estate agent in Las Vegas here, and today I'm going to give you some reasons why it may not be a good idea for you to buy a house right now. Buying a house right now is very, very difficult. As I'm working with a lot of my clients, mostly first-time home buyers, we'll say. First and foremost, the interest rates, right? Everybody knows interest rates are high. Then you hear the argument saying, well, people are paying 13% interest, 19% interest back in the day. Yes, this is true, but back in those days, the prices of homes were much lower than they are now, all right? And I'll give you this example for myself, okay? My very first home I bought, 20 years ago. I paid right around 7% interest, right? In the early 2000s, I think it was like a high 6. I thought I got a pretty good rate, and I bought a house then, all right? Well, what's the difference? Well, my very first house I bought was $150,000, all right? To buy that same house, which is a starter house, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, it's over $400,000 now too. So that same 7% interest rate back then gave me a much more affordable payment every month than it would give me right now. I mean, buying a starter home could cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 right now, okay? And to rent that same house right now, you're probably spending $2,000 or less. Reason number 2 on this is just the competitive market right now. Right now, the market is very tight, all right? Meaning we have low inventory, we have low supply, and then a very high demand for properties. What that does is it drives the prices of homes up. When I'm making offers for somebody that's buying a house for the first time, it's really hard to compete, right? Because right out the gate, you're competing with multiple offers, all right? So you have offers you're competing with. It could be people with more money down, higher deposits, or better financing. Whatever the reason is, they're going up against 5 to 10 people in the same boat. So what happens in these negotiations? So first thing, you start bidding up on the price, right? In tight markets, it's not out of the question for buyers to actually have to offer over the list price to just get the house. There's a really low chance of the seller willing to pay closing costs for you as well too, because it's a tight market. Why would I pay you closing costs if this other buyer over here doesn't need it, right? Other thing that I'm seeing is if you offer over the list price and you're setting a new high for the neighborhood, the sellers are asking buyers to waive their appraisal contingency. What does that mean? Let's say I have a house that's $500,000 and you want to outbid everybody to get this house and you offer $525,000. If that house appraises only for $500,000, all right? Now you're expected to pay the additional $25,000 over the list price that you bid now. It just makes it that you have to bring a lot of money to the table. So let's say you get into escrow and we'll get an inspection done, right? It's in a more balanced market. You can negotiate with sellers to get repairs done for you. But in a really hot market, if you start asking for a bunch of repairs, the seller might say, I'm not doing any repairs, take it or leave it, because I have 4 other people here waiting on the sidelines to buy this house if you don't proceed. Reason number 3, we hear this a lot right now. Uncertainty. It's an election year. Oh, what's going on with Israel and Palestine? And let's not forget, there's still Ukraine going on. We always talk about, cryptocurrencies, or is the financial market gonna collapse again? It's at an all-time high again. They're saying that defaults are on the rise right now. A lot of people are voluntarily turning in their cars. So auto loans are on the rise on defaults. Credit cards are defaulting at a higher rate again too. So there's a lot of economic factors and signs out there that would suggest that maybe a recession's coming. I don't know if it will or not, but the uncertainty is scary. And how does that relate to buying a house? Well, if you buy a house high and the market kind of shifts and the value goes down on it a little bit, and let's just say they decide to lower the interest rate now, and you're thinking to yourself, great, I can just refinance now. It's going to be hard for you to refinance if the value of your property is less than what you bought it for now, because if you have negative equity, you're not going to qualify for a refinance and take advantage of the lower interest rates even too. So, you're not wrong if you're worried about things that are kind of uncertain right now, because who knows what's going to happen. Reason number 4, they did a survey for people who bought homes in the last few years. We're talking about COVID and post-pandemic times, all right? A lot of people rushed to buy homes. Prices were going up, interest rates are low, everything was looking good, and then all of a sudden things changed, all right? Interest rates went up, money was not so easily coming in anymore. No more stimulus checks, no more low interest for you to take advantage of. Basically, a lot of them, they regretted buying the house. Our first thing is they didn't realize the cost of owning a house. It's not just a mortgage. It's not just the interest on that. You have things called property taxes, all right? So when home values increase, your property taxes also increase. So when you bought the house before, you thought, okay, these are my taxes. Real estate just kept going up, so now the taxes kept going up. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Or HOAs, all right? In Las Vegas, there's a lot of HOAs here. If you want to live in these master plans like Mountain's Edge, Southern Highlands, Summerlin, Inspirada, those HOA fees, they can increase too over time. And the third thing that goes up a lot is insurance. They said the reason for that is a lot of people are filing claims. Insurance companies are trying to drop people's policies right now because they're tired of paying claims on these things. These are kind of what they call hidden costs. They're not actually hidden, maybe just unexpected. Let's not forget to mention maintenance on a house too. If you bought a resale home, we're in a heat wave right now this summer, all of a sudden your AC goes out. Well, that's an unexpected $10,000 you're gonna have to pay. And everything else, roof issues. Last year myself, it rained a lot here in Las Vegas. I discovered I had some roof issues I had to take care of. Unexpected for me, for sure, right? But all in all, a lot of people bought a house and they think that I can make this payment work. And then they don't realize all the other stuff that they're unaware of that could actually go up in costs. The fifth reason, I think a lot of people just really have a dream of home ownership, okay? And I love that dream, all right? I am a homeowner. I always wanted to own a house too. Thing is, if you're so caught up in owning a house that you put yourself in a tough spot. Let's just say you scrape up all your cash together, all right? You're tapping into your 401k even, or borrowing money from, your parents or friends or whatever. That's never a good idea to do. You should always be financially ready to buy a house. Don't exhaust all your savings on buying a house. I've seen people do it too much where they buy a house, something comes up, they can't afford it. Now they want to sell. They don't have enough equity to sell. What happens now? Nothing good. As a real estate agent, I always believe if you own a house, it's probably better for you. But renting might be a good thing for you because with renting, you might be able to get into a rental for a much lower amount, like a security deposit, an application fee, first month's rent. Well, it might be a lot cheaper than a down payment, closing costs, and everything else that comes with owning a house. Second thing, number two, your costs are going to be more predictable because when you're renting, you're responsible for the rent and then utilities you use and things like that. If the property taxes go up, your landlord's paying that for you. If insurance goes up, their insurance goes up, not you as a renter. Let's say you could afford a mortgage payment, right? But you're able to live in that same style of house or a much lower rent. Well, this gives you the opportunity to save that extra money that you're saving a month and put it into investments where you're growing that money into a larger down payment. Saving that money is going to just help you take steps to becoming mortgage ready. Renting definitely has its downfalls too. When you're renting, you're not going to take advantage of the long-term appreciation of real estate, right? When you're paying rent, you can't write off your rent, right? When you have a mortgage, you can write off all the interest. I'm not saying just be a renter forever, don't ever buy a house. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you have to assess your own situation. If you have savings, all right, if you have a 6-month emergency fund, if you have investments saved and you just have a great income as well, you have a great paying job and you can afford to buy a house, buy a house. I still think it's a great idea. If you're not any of those things, like living paycheck to paycheck, you just can't get ahead and you're just trying to make things work, I think you should really get your financial situation a little more secure and stable before you start jumping into a big obligation like a mortgage. And let's say you are in that situation where you're mortgage ready. Remember that it is a long-term investment. Maybe you do the numbers and you're like, well, if I would have rented this house, I could have saved this much money. Or later on, when your home value has increased, all right, and rents have increased as well. Now you're locked into that payment. You're building equity. You have all the tax benefits of it. And, so owning a home is still the goal for you. I'm just saying, don't jump into it if you're not totally ready. All right, on my channel, I give you monthly updates on the real estate market here in Las Vegas and just a lot of good information from buying your first house to building a real estate portfolio. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.